What is up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. It's time for episode 15 of Guardians franchise. We are here right at the beginning of the offseason of the 2026 season. 2025's just wrapped up. The Orioles, who knocked us out unceremoniously in 5 games in the ALCS, went on to defeat the Cardinals also in 5 games in the World Series. Y'all, they're going to be tough. That's just all there is to it. That's back-to-back titles. The funny thing is their win total's coming down, 101, 99, 96. That's because they're probably in full load management mode. I always reference the Spurs on this. I know it's an outdated reference, but they kind of really started it, right? Popovich and that group of, not really worrying about the seeds. They knew they'd get kind of a higher end one. Make sure that the old guys are ready to go. Now, it's not a one-to-one. They don't have old guys. Plus, it's mostly a joke anyway, because if you look at their Pythag, it's actually going the other way, 94, 97, 101. So they're not load management, doing the load management game or anything where they're sitting guys. I'm just making a joke about it because they're getting stronger as their win count goes lower. That's kind of hilarious to me. But maybe we can become their chief rival. That's really what I'm hoping for, is that we can battle them. You know what's curious here? I noticed, why is I wonder if it's because of the realignment. I don't know. Why are these 3 years? Why don't they have a placement? I don't know. That's bizarre. But either way, they're an amazing team. Again, we're gonna have to overcome them. It's not whether or not they're gonna hold up the end of the bargain. It's whether or not we are. Are we gonna get to their level where we can credibly take them on? You know, they beat us with our own guy in Manzardo having a great season. He's their 6th hitter, for crying out loud. But anyway, no point dwelling on that too much. We had a pretty good season. I am quite happy with this in just our 3rd season here. Or no, our 2nd season, excuse me. Of course, it's 2024. Hello. In just our 2nd season, we jump 18 wins. We make an ALCS appearance. We've got some nice players who came along. Lots to be happy about. In fact, we got a season score of 820, and perhaps most importantly, boom, market size up to average, baby. Let's go. We were given a $110 million budget, which after some dust settling here on arbitration, which I've already gone through for the most part, Tomas Nido withdrawal, we will find ourselves a backup catcher. We've still got plenty of money. We are sitting on about 50 mil after putting some more money in the scouting and development, taking care of all of that, getting a whole new set of personnel. I'm not even sure I'm going to go into all of it, to be honest. We remade the personnel, including in the major leagues. And that's what I will go over. Y'all know we had Joe Madden, and you can see they're already ecstatic. And we've simmed some days with these guys, so they've clicked immediately. You can see all the parenthetical numbers here on the works well with, and only 2 points of negativity. I don't know if it counts like that and does anything, but I mean, if it does, you got 10, 12, 15, 16, 17 plus points against just the 2 negative points. I'm just counting the parenthetical numbers there. That's really good. And obviously I took a concerted effort to do that, finding guys who could have the skills required to be good, but also get along very well with each other. Thus, we have a remarkably cohesive unit right now. So like I said, Joe Madden was here. We know what he can do. He's very good. Then we got Dave Reinfelder to be our bench coach here, or excuse me, to be our pitching coach. Outstanding at development, influencing mechanics, and aging is excellent, and so is his teach pitching. He's a finesse pitcher coach, and that's fine. I like overpowering guys, but if we don't have them and he can turn guys crafty, that's great too. You know, if you can take some of our high velocity guys and give them some, some finesse, we're all the better for that. And look at those relationships, y'all. All of his relationships with the pitchers are strong, either in the excellent, where most of them are, and then Alamon and Bradish in the good. The only, mediocre or poor relationships that he has are with hitters, and that's fine. He can hate them all he wants. I don't think he hates them, but he could. It wouldn't matter. So then we have our hitting coach, Sean Freeman, who is legendary at teaching hitting, good development, excellent mechanics, and good at handling aging. So, I traded off a little bit on the development mechanics aging for the legendary teaching hitting. That's just too excellent. He's personable. We knew he'd fit in with the group. And then with the team, he has good relationships overall. And again, you look at it, it's kind of the reverse of our pitching coach. He only has one slightly negative-ish relationship that isn't in the good column, good or excellent. And it's there's two. There's two. One's Renfroe, who's gone, and then Bo Naylor. So I guess I could have said one and then ignored Renfroe being there. But when I said one, I was referencing Renfroe, so I was just being honest. But yeah, so only one real negative. I shouldn't say real negative. Only one meh relationship. It's an average with Bo Naylor. Now, that is a little bit of a bummer because I really still have some hope for Bo. And I really believe that there is a world where this can click. But this contact profile here sucks. And it's very clearly hurting him. And you can only do so much with pop and eye if you don't make enough contact, right? Like, we've seen it a ton. It's a 3 true outcomes kind of profile, but not really delivering enough. So it would have been nicer to maybe find somebody that Bo Naylor could have hooked up with as far as coaching, but I had to take the greater good here. And you see all these wonderful relationships. Under the excellent, we got Fry, Josh Naylor, Tyler Freeman, Andres Mendez, Jose Ramirez, Chase DeLauder, Heston Kierstead, and Kyle Stowers, a.k.a. our core. And then you got the rest of our core over here under good. Bailey, Arias, Rocchio, Watson, Valera, DeLuca, and Condon. So he was a great fit. Sean Freeman. First base, Luis Mesa. And you see a bunch of green and blue all in his coaching here. For our purposes with him, we care about from in-game running to running. These are the things that we would care about depending on where we're going to slot him. As you can see over here, we've got him on teaching outfield and running. He's excellent at both. So Luis Mesa comes in and carries a lot of good relationships. He's also not a huge fan of Bo. Maybe it's a Bo problem. How about that? I'm starting to realize that maybe it's a Bo problem, that nobody seems to really get along with him that well. We got Ryan Sandberg coming in at third, and he's got outstanding on the catching, infield, and outfield defense. He teaches hitting very well too, with triple goods on the development mechanics aging. He could have been our hitting coach, but I had already made the decision to go the other way, but he's pretty good there too. He's got a pretty good set of relationships. He's got a couple mediocre ones with some hitters here under the average, and then fair and below is all pitching. So we don't care about that again because it really won't play any role. So I like what we've got here with our new set of coaches under Joe Madden. Like, he's not our manager, we're the manager, but he's kind of the head guy there as far as the computer generated. And so hopefully he keeps this group in line, and so far, so very, very good. So I also want to talk about our end of season prospect ranking. We were 6th, and we still are. Okay, I wasn't sure if we had changed or not. I've only simmed about 10 game days since I wrote that in my little rundown here, but you never know when it's going to click over and all of a sudden you're down 10 ranks or something. But we've got Condon carrying a lot of weight at number 8 overall. First round pick this year, Chase Shores at 25. I got some interesting, I don't want to say news, I guess just kind of rumoring on Chase Shores that we'll get to in a little bit. Khalil Watson, 48th overall. He should probably graduate. Yeah, 163 plate appearances. He'll graduate off. George Valera, 54th. He'll graduate off for sure. 454 plate appearances. Steph Rodaville might have to help me out there if we have any Dutch folks in the audience. But Steph out here coming in at 168. Robert Salinas, 178. And Chris Livonis, 190. So we'll see if we fall a bit. Obviously, number 8 and 25 are both carrying us, and they'll both retain their qualification. So we won't drop too far. Even if Watson and Valera will graduate. When they do, even if we don't necessarily add anybody here in our next man up, I think we're okay. We'll still be pretty good there. And yeah, I like that all 4, I put this in my little checklist here, all 4 of our top 100s are 60 and above, well, really top 55. We always use the 5 and 0 cutoffs because technically they're all top 54. So why wouldn't you just say that? But it's just kind of the way that we talk, at least in the States, where it's always like on the 0 or the 5. All right, so let's get into some of the stuff that's kind of been going around here in the off season, including a couple moves some discussed moves, and maybe some that we would still do depending on what the feedback is once you guys find out about what's going on. So first things first, we considered a Lonnie White Jr. deal. Pull up Lonnie White Jr. here for the Pirates organization. Now, I will tell you this. He came up on waivers, and I didn't really feel comfortable getting a 22-year-old top 60 prospect off of waivers. I kind of looked into what they had going because I was going to kind of manually put him back on the 40. They had reason to kind of have him off, a little reason, not much, but they didn't have a bunch of 40s and 30 grade guys on there. They were all 45s and above, so they could have made a better decision. I mean, you're not just going to get rid of a top 60 guy like that. That makes no sense. So I didn't want to do that, so I entertained a trade, though. I was like, okay, I won't just take him for free because that just feels like it's a little lame. They really shouldn't be putting him out there, and I'm glad nobody ended up picking him up. But I will talk deal. So what they ended up being interested in, and I don't know if it'll be in any of the pending stuff. Nope. They wanted, or no, what I had offered, I don't know if they ended up being interested in it, to be honest. I wrote these notes a little while ago, so I'm sorry I'm a little hazy on it. I'm going to put these two back in. It was old Jorge, aka George Valera, and okay, they're saying they would do that just as is right now, which I don't know if I agree with all that. But it was him and Espino that we were talking about. Maybe it was him or Espino, because they're obviously, they're down to do Valera. Why would I throw in Espino? It had to have been either or. All I put was Valera / Espino in my notes. I didn't really help myself out here by taking detailed notes. And again, this was from a few days ago when I did a little play, and then now I'm coming back to it a few days later. So you see this terrifying news. Skeens and Jones in the red, both with busted up arms, which, I mean, that's the nature of pitching. I do not want that to happen in any way, shape, or form. But it's probably pretty accurate. I'm sorry. But anyway, Lonnie White Jr., pretty interesting. I also liked that he was right-handed. We have so many left-handers, so that kind of appealed to me with the 60 pop and the really good defense. So I was intrigued. I wonder if him for Valera straight up makes some sense, just from a standpoint of balancing out the lineup a little bit better. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lefties, 3 switchies, which is nice, and then 1 true righty right now. Now we have to kind of look ahead a little bit too, though, because, well, nobody here is necessarily gone, but I wonder if DeLuca's not going to be, oh, you know what? This kind of makes a White deal even more interesting, because Condon's going to be joining the team full-time. We know that. But then we only have a true center fielder here, because Valera can't play it. Kerstead is stretched there. He can do it, but I'd like a little bit better. And you know what's a little bit better? Lonnie White Jr., y'all. He's 65, 60, 60. Kerstead is worse than that. I lost his profile for a second. Kerstead 60, 65, 55. So it's a tangible difference there. Man, I am wondering now if I'm on board with the deal here. All right, Valera, still at a glance here, makes the most sense. So it had to have been Valera or Espino. Now that I see this list of players, could have never been both. It wouldn't have made any sense. And I did put a slash. I didn't put and. So I guess I was just trying to imply that it was an either or situation. I don't really feel comfortable moving any of these other guys here. Maybe Espino. And then we keep Valera around, so we're not just giving away a bat that, like, you know, has some upside. I like the 65i and 55 BABIP combo. That's a nice little combo. And he ripped 30 bombs at AAA. Like, let's not sell Valera short. He had a good season. He's a strong prospect, but he is fragile already. Y'all, I have a hard time giving up on Espino. He's also fragile, but he was a 16th ranked prospect. I just feel like we're going to let him go somewhere else and he's going to blossom. And sometimes that happens and we'll like roast the team that got rid of them, and it wasn't going to happen there. right? And I know that that's hard for fans to deal with sometimes. And I'm not even saying like it's 100% right. Like maybe there was a path, but I'm saying that there are definitely instances where the simple fact is he wasn't going to break out if he stayed with your team. He linked up with, Coach X or teammate Y, and they helped him unlock. One of the recent ones that I've noticed with that is everyone giving the Cubs real trouble about Jeremiah Estrada. With a reliever, it's like, come on, y'all. That stuff happens all the time with relievers. That is just the very nature of relievers. But anyway, I do worry that that will happen to us with Espino. I think I might do it for Valera. I think this makes a lot of sense for team build. It's kind of a challenge trade. Corner outfielder for center fielder. And we'll just see what's what. We're also getting a couple years younger. Let's see here. Let's do the comparison. White's power is actually a little bit better, but he has 10 I worse, 5 avoid K worse. So they're probably a wash in the composite bat. Maybe even a little toward Valera, which makes sense because he's a corner outfielder. He should have a better bat. But then you look at the speed and defensive profile, and that's going to favor White. And then, like I said, a couple years younger too, 22 to 25. That's not nothing. To go double negative on that. Yeah, I think we're going to do this. This was unexpected, but let's get into it, or let's secure it. I considered a Lonnie White deal in here. Now I'm putting Lonnie White Jr. deal done. Let's go. For Valera. We are trading, an original Guardian. I talk about how I am like some of the other streamers YouTubers in the OOTP community, where we try to keep as much of the core together as we can, but you can't do that, and forsake advancing the team, right? So we have plenty of guys. It's not like we've stripped it to the studs here. So boom, done and done. Good luck to Valera. Let's pop him on our former prospects list here. Move him from former, or move him on to the former, and then pop him off the top prospects. But then we put Lonnie White onto the top prospects. Let's go, baby. Lonnie White in the cut. So we got to put him on the 40, right? I think we do. Yeah, okay. I thought so. I just try to scam sometimes. But we can pop him to AAA for now. I don't think he has to stay. Actually, you know what? I might not even mess with it. He's already on the 40. I don't think there's really any sense pretending that he's not going to be on the team. Because as it stands right this moment, he absolutely is. So let's just put him up there. All right, then let's talk about the player dev. My favorite new feature of the year for Sims, y'all. I'm so excited about this. It's been so fun. As much as it can be frustrating and difficult, I love that there's risk to it, which I didn't quite realize as much until I started getting into it and doing it in this sim. That like, okay, it's not just free shots at improvement, and nor should it be, right? Because then it'd be kind of janky, if I'm being honest. It's, hey, you can take this risk. There's some upside. You're not always going to get hit if they don't succeed, but there's some times where they could go the other way. Not only did this not work, but now that particular skill you were trying to enhance is dimmed a little bit. So let's see who we're sending. I think we have 10 spots now. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. And now we have a spot open because that was where Valera was. And that's actually perfect because I wanted a spot open for somebody, and I'm going to discuss who that might be in a moment. But first things first, we got Joey Cantillo trying to improve his control. He's got a 50 control, 70 stuff, 55 homer, 55 BABIP. Makes sense to go for the control. If he can pop that up to 55, 60, that is next level. He already put up a brilliant campaign this year, switched into the rotation for 16 starts, didn't miss a beat, and will be a big part of our rotation next year. Joey Cantillo working on his control, excelling right now. Charlie Condon, 2-strike approach. Let's get those strikeouts in order, young man. 45 avoid K with 50 potential. We'd love to send that upwards. Even if he doesn't advance the current, but maybe brings up the potential a bit. I don't know if that's even possible. I don't know all the outcomes that you can get, but if we can push this, that's going to send him to being a next level player. I think he still has great upside. I'm very excited for his first full season next year, but Can we take it to another level if the avoid Ks can get in check? And he's on track right now. It is very early on these, so I'm not even going to get too excited about the ones that are positive or all that upset about the guys that are, in the negative state right now with frustration. Next up is Brian Rocchio, the professor. I didn't know he was called that, but cool. Where's Marianne? And so what we're working on with him is generate bat speed. Let's tap into some pop. He's got 4 or 5 in the chamber here, 40 out of 45, but let's bump that because this is a profile that if it could hit that critical mark of 50, let alone higher, this would send him to another level. At 40, 45 pop, okay, he can be a pretty good player, but there's a pretty hard cap on exactly how high he can get, barring crazy BABIPs. And he ran a 338 this year and put up a hell of a season, but he kind of needed that BABIP to carry him. If he can start striking the ball crazy hard with great defense as well, I'm really excited about what Rocchio can do. And if you watch my Marlins series, I'm a big Rocchio fan. Really, really tried to get him to work in that series. And he had glimpses of goodness, but it never really came together. So I'm very heartened by this season here, even though it's about a half season, let's call it 78 games. Like I say, it's always dangerous to play the extrapolation game with like a half season and just double it, at least as an expectation. If you do that and you double it and you say that that's a dream upside, okay, I can get behind that. But when people took like Zach Geloff's 14 homers and 14 steals in literally 300 plate appearances from last year and said, dude, he could be a 30-30 guy if he just has a little improvement, I'm like, okay, now you're using the extrapolation very poorly. He would need a lot more than a little improvement to do that. And by the way, I'm not just saying that because he's off to a tough start this year. I was not super pro Geloff in the fantasy realm coming into the year. And I don't say that to dunk on him. I'm just saying it was kind of an obvious one. Any hey, any woo. Any hey, any woo is what I just said. What are those words? Any way. We also have Khalil Watson, speaking of the Marlins franchise. One of the biggest bummers was that he just simply didn't pan out. He was just no good. But let's see if we can get him to be good in this universe. 2-strike approach, obviously going to work on that 40 avoid K. He can be somebody with this profile, but it is a very volatile 3 true outcomes type of guy with 40 avoid K right there. And you saw, he was absolutely wretched in 43 games for us. Pretty good in the minors. We know he can be better than a 46 WRC plus, but when you strike out 36% of the time, it's hard to be all that good. So he really needs to fix that. Great defender though. There's a lot to like. Even if it doesn't come to fruition, I still like his outlook for next year. And don't forget, he's only 22 years old. I just hope he doesn't go the other way. Like if it doesn't work, he's like, no, now he's flailing at everything. He's Javi Baez and he has a 20 avoid K or some shit. Heston Kjerstad, plate discipline. Listen, my man, I like all this green here, and you have green potential on the eye, but I want to send that upwards. I really want that in the 55-60 range, because then we're talking about a potential superstar, and I still believe he has that upside in real life. I believe he has that upside for us. I am fully in the bag for Heston Kjerstad, and he's coming off a 3-win season. So let me be clear. He had a wonderful year. So if we can get a repeat, I'll take that. But if we can improve it, well, duh, I'll take that too, obviously. Franco Alamon, trying to improve his control. If he can improve the control even a bit more, and it's fine right now. 55 is good. I got no problems. Like he had an amazing season, 7% walk rate, but we're trying to enhance him just a bit more. You can make the case that I maybe should have gone stamina, but I went for the control, and if it comes to fruition, he's going into the rotation. Yes, even with the 35 stamina, you can succeed with 35 stamina starters. They are a mixed bag. Sometimes they're kind of on the low end of 35 stamina, which means a lot of 4+ inning outings, which are frustrating. And sometimes they're on the high end of it, and they can consistently make 5-6 innings when they're pitching well. You know what really helps that when you have the low stamina? Better control. So I thought that was a good play for Alamon there, was to go the control route and really help him with that stamina, whatever role he's in, whether he goes back for 120 innings into the bullpen as a stopper or makes the transition to the rotation and becomes more of, somebody that we're expecting $160 or more out of. Tanner Bybee, we're going to try to improve his control as well. He has certainly come down a bit from the heights of his rookie year. He was solid in 2024, but then took another step a little bit lower this year and ended up being in a hybrid role where he had to go to the bullpen. 4.17 ERA, 144 WHIP. But he was much better in the bullpen, 3.13 and 129. So he did make up for a really tough season as a starter by transitioning to the bullpen and kicking butt there. But if he can improve that control, then Bibee becomes very much back in the mix for starting. In fact, right now he is. I can't pretend that we're not considering putting him right back in the rotation as is. In fact, let's put Bieber there. He's back from injury. And for now I will put Bibee in there, but we got some other guys, you know, Espino still in the mix to potentially start. Alamon. Is that it? Eflin's not going to be on the team right now. Bradish is Bibee-ish, so he could start too. So, you know, we got a little tinge of potential depth too. Don't want to overstate it, but there's some there. So yeah, hopefully Bibee can do that. He is a little bit frustrated right now, so is Alamon, but they got plenty of time left in this program. Chase DeLauder, we're trying to get that discipline up. You know, the bottom portion of his profile is really frustrating because that power's just not coming through and the potential is really starting to evaporate. I want to say he had 65 potential at one point. No, it was maxed at 60. Okay. But he has shaved 5 off of it. It's now 55 potential, and I'm getting nervous that it's not necessarily going to get there. So we want him to kind of figure out some things at the plate with his discipline. He only has a 45 I, and he lost his 5 potential there as well. So he used to have 60 potential homer and 50 potential I, which that could have been a stud. Now he's sitting with 45 on both and only potential power up to 55. So there's a little, I don't want to say it's do or die. He's 24 years old. That would be overstating it and be way too aggro to say that. But it is a little bit of a turning point for Chase DeLauder, because if he can't get this program together and really figure some things out, I think he starts to look like more of a 4th outfielder type for us, or at least a platoon guy. You know, somebody that we're not playing all the time. And then Andres Jimenez, let's go gap power here. You know, he's not a huge power guy regardless, and that's okay. He doesn't have to be. But instead of really trying to get him to muscle up and become a home run guy, I'll take the 17, 15 homers. In fact, he's got a little pattern going right now, 17, 15, 17, 15. So we're getting 17 this year. But give me some more doubles, okay? I want to see you getting 30-plus dubs with a chance at 40, given your speed and hopefully a gap power improvement. This guy's still very much on a growth potential here at 27 years old. We've got him for several years. It's going to start to get pricey, but that's why I want his skills to get better too, so that he can hold more of a complete profile. Coming off a 5-win season, we love where we're at with Jimenez right now. The defense is crisp, the bat was strong, the speed profile, the spark plug profile. There's so much to like. If we can start to add some things through the development, it's just gonna make the rest of this contract really, really strong. So there's the 9 I have right now, and I do have a spot open, and I'm thinking of using it on Josh Naylor. Now, there is some risk. Actually, it's not that risky, because I guess if he does leave, we would just fill it again with somebody else in about a week game time. Let's see, free agents file on the 3rd. Okay, so about 10 days or so game time. And he could leave. So as it stands right now, Josh Naylor is a free agent. I offered him the 18.9 qualifying offer easily, right? Because if he doesn't take it, we'll take the pick. If he takes it, I'm certainly not upset. I have done some chatter with him on an extension, and it hasn't gone particularly well. You can see he's already into the light orange for the little face here in terms of how he's feeling. He's not really liking where I'm at, because I'm not trying to do a long-term commitment. That's not going to surprise y'all. Obviously, you know, this personality class might make it so that he's pretty stubborn about what he wants. And listen, respect, stand up for what you think you deserve. But I'm going to come in with what we think you deserve. And if it doesn't match, then we move on. I really want to keep Josh Naylor, though. I do. But I don't want to get too sentimental with it and just keep somebody that is kind of living on the knife's edge, right? He had an excellent year. What a perfect walk year for him. 3.5 wins, 32 homers, 101 ribbies, 304 average, 357 OBP, and 554 slug. just excellent, right? But how's this profile going to age with a 45i? Now, I do like 65 avoid K. He keeps the ball in play so that walking isn't as big of a deal. And I don't want to get so narrow-minded that, like, if you don't walk, you can't be a good player, because that's not true. He still has a skill, a plate skill that works, right? Your plate profile is your walks and your strikeouts. Well, one of his is still excellent. And as long as you're working with one of them being excellent, obviously the real trouble guys are the guys who strike out a ton and don't walk. I'm looking at you, Javi Baez. Boy, he's taking a beating this video. But, Naylor doesn't strike out. But the reason I say it's kind of on the knife's edge is, like, he's coming off a pretty bland average season in 2024 in 99 games. And it's like, are we that far away from that happening again? Has he developed? Did he develop in the offseason? Let's see here. So starting in November, his contact went up. His power went up in February. His gap came down, but then got back up a couple months later. And then the power took another jump. So power potential went up here in February. And then the current and potential both moved up in October. So that just happened. Okay, I wonder if that's kind of like the solidifying after hitting 32 homers. So he's going to come into next year with the 60 power already in tow. That's encouraging. But, like, how many years do we really want to go on this profile? I am curious how well he ages. And listen, first base, DH, even corner outfield, which he's a stretch in, but, like, let's give him the benefit. Let's put him on the highest possible end of the defensive spectrum that we can. Even as a right fielder, like, that's just, I don't want to say it's easy to find, but it's easier, right? And that's just simple baseball, right? Up the middle is where the difficult pieces are to secure, because those are where your best guys need to be. And then on the corners, you can find things, especially bats. You can usually find some quality bats there. That said, I like Naylor. Josh Naylor is part of the reason that I chose the Guardians, like specifically just liking him. So I'm going to try to make a more competitive offer here. I've been on like the 3-4 stuff. I did 3 straight up, front loaded for this year, and then kind of trickling down the next 2 years. And then I did 3 with a team, and I gave him a pretty healthy buyout too. But we'll try something here again. I don't mind kind of pushing this year's price up, because we've got the money, right? Let's spend it while we've got it. And I love front loading for obvious reasons. If the contract's going down as it's going, then that's going to be a lot better for us in case he starts degrading. So let's try this again. He wants 6 years, with the 6th being a player option. Oh, that's cute. I bet you want that. Of course you do. Why wouldn't you? That'd be amazing for you to get that. But that ain't happening. So let's start off with a healthy 26 this year. 26 mil. But then let's bring it down to 20. Use that for the rest. Can this 6th year, because, like, give me a break. Pop a vesting on this, where you got to clear 550 plate appearances. All right, and he wanted 21.6 mil. I got it at 21.2 right now, but might actually take that down a little bit. I mean, you get 1.1 if you win an MVP. That's pretty nice. Pretty nice. I'm gonna clip this down a little bit more here. Get you at just under 20.5 per. I wonder if he likes that at all. It's kind of goofy where it's 25 this year, 19 for 3 years, and then pops back up to 20 if he hits the 550 plate appearances. I don't mind doing a vesting. If things are horrible, then obviously we can, I don't want to say manipulate that, because for me, manipulation is if they're playing well or capably enough and you just prevent them from hitting 550 plate appearances. I'm talking about if Josh Naylor has like a 62 WRC plus, I'm not letting him get 550 plate appearances. That's just common sense, I would think. You know what? I'm going to pop this one this year back up to 27, but then I'm going to bring this down to 19, and the year before down to 18. Let's see what that does. No, that actually brings it back down to 20.4. I kind of like it at 21. Okay, that's 21 mil. That's 600,000 per year less than what he's asking for up here, 21.6. So we get close on his per annum. I think I'm saying that right. And we come in a little hot this year. Hopefully he likes that. It is 5 years. It does require a vesting, but at least we're not fully in control of it. We're trying to let you earn it. I don't even know if I love this, but it's manageable, right? Even if it goes south, it shouldn't be something that kills us. And, you know, he didn't make a ton of money this year when he was putting up a great season. So let's see. Oh, come on, Josh. Now he's red-faced. Now he's at least full orange, if not red. Yikes. All right, I'm nervous because now I want to get stubborn and offer him like 3 years at 27 mil per or something. But I think that would just completely piss him off. Maybe we should revisit. Honestly, I'm kind of curious where y'all are at on re-signing him. The potential problem there is that, like, you know, I'm going to post the video, and this one, I'm kind of starting a new backlog, so this one might go up before I'm, like, super backlogged. Or not backlogged. Well, yeah, I guess like having a backlog that I can lean on. And I might already have done something with it. But I am always interested in the opinions, even if it's something that I've already done. Like, people make comments on episodes. If they're 5, 6, 7 episodes behind, I want them to still leave their comments and thoughts. So I am curious what y'all think. I'm just pointing out that it might be too late depending on when you comment on it. And I'm knocking stuff over on my desk here. All right, so ARB review. I put ARB review in there, but everyone's already signed. So we signed a bunch of guys. It doesn't really matter. And I didn't keep track of our fan interest before. I think it was 83. So I think we might have gained 3 points. With all the ups and downs, I think we gained 3 points, however that went. All right, so made a couple moves. And we'll get into those right now. I paired up Sam Hentges with Andy Ibanez, right? A reliever and a lefty platoon guy that we don't really need. Like, he's 32 years old. He cooks lefties, but, you know, he's fine. He's got a modest defensive profile. Didn't really do anything last year. Was great after coming over from Detroit in 2024. But you get it. Like, we don't really need to keep him around. Was expendable. And then with Hentges, coming off a good season, 86 innings in 68 appearances. We love that. Even started 9 games. That was as an opener when we were doing some follower opener stuff. But, like, we can find another Sam Hentges. And he didn't want a crazy contract. Oh, actually 4.4. Like, that's a jump. That's not crazy. I stand by that comment. But that is a jump. And y'all know how I feel about relievers. I'm just not really trying to pay them unless they are top of the scale. I will pay some studs, like if we want to keep some crazy studs around. And that might not even be the best move because, again, if we're so good at finding them, then maybe you shouldn't even pay the studs. But I certainly don't like to pay in the middle of the market here. And 4.4, that's just going to be better spent elsewhere. We can find somebody on waivers, for crying out loud. Not right now. There's nobody on waivers. But we actually got somebody on waivers that I like. So this was an easy deal. So I moved Hentges and Ibanez, and there was some real interest, including Jordan Westburg. And I point him out specifically because I acknowledged when we were playing the O's that they don't even play him and that he's still a pretty interesting player. He's 26 years old, a lot of green on the profile. It's not standout, but it's in that universe where if you get him, it's in that realm where if you get him in the right system, and let's say he got along with all of our coaches and everything started to click there, he's got high leader, high intelligence, you could see a path. You could absolutely see a path where he kind of turns it around and gets going a bit. So I was like, wow, that's intriguing. I also pointed out in that very same episode, though, that we don't really need an infielder, and he doesn't have great defensive upside in the outfield, 45, 45, 60. So I thought about that. Like, if he was 55, 55, 60, I would have probably gotten Westburg. But instead, like I said, there was quite a bit of interest, including the Padres offering up a 17-year-old prospect named Nelson Lazaro. Now, usually I'm like reliever and kind of journeyman short side platoon guy, and you're giving us a 17-year-old, Dominican prospect here. The reason I still went through with it, the reason I was kind of looking at that a little side eye was like, that's a little too juicy. But the reason I still went through with it, y'all, was because Lazaro, I don't know exactly how let's go with Lazaro. Lazaro, in the general universe, is not viewed nearly as well as by our guy. So I click the OSA, he goes down to a 55, pretty pedestrian outlook here. Can't field, some pop, but not a ton. So the reason I still did it, even though I try not to like rip the computer, and I don't think this is a rip, by the way. Even if OSA felt as good about him as our guy does, I still wouldn't think it was a rip. But I thought it was a little extra for a reliever and a short side platoon guy. But once I realized it was because our scout really liked him, I felt more comfortable doing that. Like, hey, this is something that we're seeing the value. So we're trying to develop the value in Lazaro. San Diego sees him as more of a pedestrian player, and so that's why I went through with it. Then I traded off Nick Sandlin, who, my goodness, has just had a hell of a time in this universe, y'all. He is a good pitcher, okay? I stand by that. These are good-ass ratings. I was actually pretty excited about him, too. He wasn't one of the reasons I did this sim, but of the guys that I was kind of thinking, like, ooh, they're interesting, I like them. I think of the relievers sometimes, and Nick Sandlin, I was like, ooh, he's going to be the stopper ahead of Emmanuel Clase. I might have even said that in one of the earlier episodes. He's coming off some great real-life years, and he has just fallen apart with us. He's become a home run machine, and I don't really understand why. 55 home run allowed, doesn't mean that you're going to allow none, but 1.4 and 3.3 or 1.6 last year and 3.3 this year, only in 11 innings. But like, what the hell is that? What is going on? So, kind of had to go. He's on the right side of 30. There's definitely a universe where he gets good again. And because of his struggles, he's only looking for 1.6. So this wasn't a dump for anything like that. It was more to give him a fresh start somewhere else and take a spin on a different reliever. And so we just made a 1-for-1 deal for Cade Morris. So again, getting younger, 23 years old, excuse me. And he's fine. He's fine. He's an arm. He's an org arm. We're going to pop him into AA here. Go to Akron. He was in AA last year. It went fine, actually. He actually improved quite a bit from high A. I like to see that. So he moved up a level and got better. That's good. But he'll go to AA. Actually, he can maybe go to AAA. I don't hate that idea. Well, no. Well, let's see if he can flourish here a bit. He'll start the season here. If he does really well and moves to AAA, and then he's a phone call away. So yeah, nothing too crazy there, but I like getting a bit younger. And then the claim, I mentioned I made a claim, and I will show you that claim. It was on a pitcher, also from the Padres. So we're gobbling up all their players here. And it was, where'd you go? Oh, there he is. Randy Vasquez, coming in from the Padres. He was in their minors. Didn't pitch in the majors in 2025, excuse me. Didn't do well in 2024 for 4 starts, very tiny sample. And he's just a flat, 50s all over the place with a 45 stamina, 55 BABIP, 95, 97 out of the bullpen perhaps. He's going to start in AAA, but I could see him as a bullpen piece for us, in the majors. I wonder if he jumps up in the bullpen. Let's see. I think he gets the extra 5 stuff, but we'll see what can happen with him down at AAA. I didn't check this yet, so we can check it together. Let's see what the pitching coach Dom Johnson thinks of him. Dom John, how do you feel about Randy Vasquez? Okay, good relationship. Perfect. That's what we want. That's exactly what we want. Royber Salinas, another top prospect of ours. Good relationship. Perfect. Tim Herron, intriguing lefty, also has a good relationship. On the excellent side, they have Hunter Gaddis, which, okay, I'm not sure that that's going to pay a ton of dividends, but it's not bad. Parker Messick, similar to Gaddis. Okay, stop going all the way back. I'm just hitting the back button once. Ross Carver. Andrew Miziak. I am confused by this name. Miziacek? Is this a check at the end? S-Z-E-K perhaps? I don't know. Who cares? But he okay, this one, he's 28, so it'd be kind of a late development sort of thing. And it is just a bullpen piece. But I think there's a world with the excellent relationship where maybe Dom Johnson could really get something out of Andrew. And then I'm going to have to figure out how to say his name because I can't have him dominating out of the bullpen and have no clue how to say his name. Juan Zapata could be kind of interesting too. 27 years old, just turned 27. Has kind of the control and finesse pieces covered, but he only throws 90-92, so he's not going to boost this stuff up to like 60 or anything. What if he could trickle it up to 45-50? Or don't worry about that and enhance these skills, the homer, BABIP, and control. I don't know. There might be a little something there with Juan Zapata. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, I also got a ton of new minor league personnel, but I wasn't going to cover every individual piece because we basically rebuilt the minors. All right, so after the Randy Vasquez claim, we started getting some pretty credible offers that included Riley Green from the Detroit Tigers. And you see Riley Green here. Now, he is a lefty, so great. That's just what we need, another lefty outfielder. But he's good. He's coming off a pretty modest season. In fact, 0 WAR on the button, so pretty average for 650 plate appearances. So not great, but the profile is still there for a lot more, and he's 25 years old. So they asked for Steph, one of our top 200 prospects, solid, 26 years old, coming out of the Netherlands there, and Chase Shores, our first round pick this year. So it's not nothing, right? It's a real ask, but it's a fair ask. I felt like I was like, okay, wow, that's not a bad offer there. Now, as you can see, I of course didn't do it, but I was like, wow, I like that. And they came right back 2 days later, like, are you sure you don't want Riley Green? I was like, whoa. So this time they were asking for Jonathan Rodriguez, capable bat, did some nice work for us in 2024, spent the 2025 season in AAA because we just didn't need him, where he casually crushed 35 bombs. Ralphie Velasquez, who was a former catching prospect who we've converted over to first base because the catching's just not there, with a nice profile and some real pop that he could develop, but he has to start developing it. He is only 20, so it's not do or die, but he's coming off a comically dreadful season. -2 WAR. I might have over-challenged him here in the Carolina League, but I didn't think so. I mean, these skills, first off, shouldn't they be better than a 30? This is a 30? Maybe. And then this is only a 45 for ACL even? Wow. I don't really know how that translates. This looks like it should be God tier for ACL. Who knows? But anyway, Velasquez, and then also Lexer Sedui? I don't know how to pronounce that. But he's kind of a whatever center fielder. This one, I had actually dug into this when I started the recording pretty close to right after this one. It's the 23rd in game time, but I simmed all those days at once. I was like, okay, I'll check in on this more once I start the video. So this one, I don't feel like we're giving a ton. I have a little trepidation about taking Riley Green from the Tigers. I will say, I can't do this deal. This one, I know the computer offered it, and you say, hey, they offered it, just take what they offered. This is not a good deal. This is not a good deal. Jonathan Rodriguez doesn't bring enough to the table. Velasquez is a project. They might have a better outlook on him, but he's a project. And Lexer's like a throw-in. But the other one, that one stings a bit more, but it should sting to get a potential showcase piece. It kind of takes us out from under the low work ethic pick, but at the same time, part of me wants to stick with the low work ethic pick to see how we can do with it. I mentioned I had some success with a couple of low work ethic guys who became true superstars, like legitimate Hall of Famers in my Cincinnati Reds sim last year. And while I don't have that expectation for every low work ethic guy I get, it just made me more open to bringing those guys on board. I used to be completely allergic to them. Like, no way you're getting on my squad with your low work ethic, good sir. But I'm more open to it now. And then we ended up having the 2025 draft kind of be the draft of low work ethic. I think we got 3 or 4 guys within our first 5, 6, 7 picks that have it. But we'll see how it goes. I'm not going to trade for Green. They're coming off a down year. I mean, they're in a down period, let's be honest. The Tigers aren't great right now. But I don't know. This just feels... They're a division rival. You know, we brought them with us to this new Cobb division. I don't think it's something that we should do. So, decent offer though. I will say that. They've clearly soured on him to some degree because they're just not asking for nearly enough. And I don't really get it. I mean, OSA isn't their GM, so their GM could have him as like a 50. I don't know. But I don't agree. I think he is still a good player. But we'll leave him on the Tigers. If they trade him to somebody else, that's their decision, but I'm not gonna make that choice. All right, so now we sit on the cusp of awards. Let's go ahead and look at the awards that have come out so far. Let me put this in the rundown here. Awards review. And then I saved the Cy and MVP to share with y'all, and we'll cap off the episode with that. Well, you can see the Cy right there. NL Cy was Walker Buehler. But let's go back to the Gold Gloves. Here are the NL ones. Jordan Hicks now with Cincy. Sean Murphy, Matt Olson, Nico Horner, Nolan Arenado, Dansby Swanson, Stephen Kwan with Portland, Jose Siri with Portland. So they got some great outfield defense. And then Bryce Harper back in right field. American League, Nick Pivetta with the Yankees. Jose Trevino, Colt Keith over at first base. Jackson Holliday, Matt Chapman, also a Yankee. Averson Arteaga. This guy was a defensive stud for us. I forget which team. It might have actually been Cincy. I know I referenced them earlier, but I think it was Cincy, where his defense, like he's just so good defensively. See what he did here? He put up a 1.5 despite a 61 WRC plus. That's crazy. That tells you how unbelievable his defense is. He did that for the White Sox, by the way, did Arteaga. Wyatt Langford in left, Robert in center, and then Florial with the A's over in right field. So, hey, good on him. Former guard who we sent out there in that Joe Boyle, Royber, Salinas deal. We still got Salinas, and he's a top 200 prospect for us with a great relationship with our new pitching coach down there, too. So maybe something turns. Then top AL reliever was Trevor Stephan. Whoops. Hey, when we left him open, we knew that A, I knew he'd get taken, and B, I knew that he could recover and be great. But he was coming off of a major injury. I didn't know what he was going to be. I hate to repeat it, 52 million times an episode, but our ability to cultivate relievers means I'm not using one of the precious expansion protection slots for Trevor Stephan. We just had to risk him, and Charlotte's got themselves a gem here, so good on them. 2.15 ERA, 110 WHIP for him. 54 innings and 53 appearances, though. That's a little weak. Come on, you can do better than that. Hader was second. We had Emmanuel Clase in third. He was also an inning per outing guy, which that was by design, though. We didn't want to burn him into the ground. We got other relievers for that. And then Yanier Cano, Andres Munoz, and Ian Hamilton round out those receiving votes. Adbert Alzolay won it for the Cubbies. 194 ERA, 096 WHIP for him. Excellent season. Platinum Sticks. Adley, Alvarez, Jackson Holliday. That's Jordan Alvarez. Devers, Seager, Langford, Evan Carter, Aaron Judge, and then Kyle Manzardo. So, oh man, that means Devers beat out J-Ram, which, I mean, for Silver Slugger, I get it. Or Platinum Stick, as it were. J-Ram's great season was last year. He was fine this year, but he was next level last year. So I understand that. So we don't get anybody there. In the NL, Murphy, Brock Wilken, who we talked about during the break, during the All-Star break. Matt McClain, Christopher Morel, Noelve Marte, Juan Soto with the Dodgers now, Corbin Carroll out in center, Acuna in right, and then Shohei at DH. All right, best rookie, Kyle Teel gets it in the American League. 27 first place votes over Jace Young, who got 5. Connor Norby, Cade Doty, Roman Anthony, and Harry Ford. That's a good group there. You can see all of them making some noise as the rest of this sim goes. Dylan Cruz and Brock Wilkin went mano-a-mano by 2 points. Cruz gets them. They were the clear 2 guys. Brady House coming in there in third with a good season of his own. 41 bombs. Like, let's not sleep on that. But Dylan Cruz was an absolute monster. Put up a casual 6-win season. 306, 396, 533. He was just amazing. Number 1 prospect, pans out this first year at least, and looking wonderful. Wilkin, for his part, 44 bombs, 133 ribs, 104 runs. Excellent 5-win campaign. So those 3 are pretty awesome too. AL manager went to Brandon Hyde. Of course it did. Ali Marmol won it in the National League, so the 2 World Series participants. AL Cy Young, Grayson Rodriguez edges out Shane Baz. Cole Reagans finishes third. I say edges out only because Baz was second. He actually crushed him. It was unanimous. He got all 32 votes. So I shouldn't have said edged him out. He beat the shit out of him. 3.15 ERA, 110 whip for Grayson. Just a remarkable campaign. Led the league in WAR and absolutely deserved it. Shane Baz led the league in ERA with 3.06. Had a great season, just not quite as good as Grayson's. And Reagan's, again, great year, but not quite up there. Did we get anybody? We got Raylo down here. Pretty down ballot for his great year. Frankly, Raylo was better than Reagan's, right? Like, come on. I love Cole Reagans, but give me a break. What are we doing here? Raylo had, let's see here. Wait a minute. Oh, it cuts off the 1 here. I was like, he had more than 69 innings. Okay, this is weird. I got to send this into the devs that it cuts off the 1. He had 169 innings to 178 for Reagan, so he gets a little edge there, does Reagan's. But then ERA plus, they're about even. Whip, an 11-point advantage for Raylo, 122 to 133. I think that's a pretty big deal. Strikeout to walk rate does go to Reagan's, which is a big deal for me. 2.7 to 1.8. Credit there. He has him beat in strikeouts and walks. So then FIP, you're talking 348 to 421, but I'm less concerned with that on an award standpoint. That matters for next year, okay? When I'm trying to project forward next year, I'm going to project Reagan's better. But when I'm looking back on the season, I don't care about what should have happened, quote unquote. And I say that because that's not exactly what FIP is, but it's kind of saying like these skills can generally net this kind of ERA. That's why it's on the ERA scale. But things happen sometimes. It doesn't mean they deserve that 100%. It's what those core skills can generally yield, or you know, can often yield. But yeah, okay. As I look at it a little bit deeper, sure, Reagan's can be ahead, but maybe not that many spots. 1, 2, 3, 4 guys in between them. They're not that far apart. Now Walker Buehler does get the NL Cy Young, 25-7 over Max Fried, and he put up a 2.66 ERA and 0.93 WHIP. Holy shit, that's incredible. All right, let's sim to the MVP here, and we'll look at that together. All right, Wyatt Langford takes the MVP. Is that his second in a row? No. Okay, I'm thinking of something else then. But he does win it. 170 WRC plus, 8 wins, 660 slug, 52 doubles, 47 homers, and 132 runs driven in. Those were all league-leading categories. It should have been 32-0. It wasn't. It was 19 first-place votes for him, 11 for Judge, who had a great season. He really did. And it was close-ish, but I don't know. Devers was great too, 42, 132. I guess it's the league-leading stuff here, right? These key 6 categories that he led, it's like, yes, Judge and Devers were great, but Langford first in so many things that those guys also excelled in. Who's voting Judge and Devers first? That's what I don't get. Who cares? It's not the end of the world. Down ballot for us, we had Josh Naylor pretty far down there, and then Andres Jimenez way down there, and then Kyle Stowers. Kyle Stowers getting some love. I like that. 36 bombs, 133 WRC plus, getting a little like 10th place vote. Sweet. I'm so here for that. Deserved. He had a great year. And Shohei Ohtani wins it in the National League. He does win unanimously because he's still doing the double dip, and he was a brilliant hitter with 55, 159 on the homers and ribbies, and then a casual 342 ERA, 115 whip for 176 innings. Just unbelievable. And it should be unanimous. It was. God, he's so good. Curious if we ever get pitching like that from him again. That'll be really interesting to see once he's healthy, but it might be few and far between going forward. So there's the awards. We don't really get anything, which I'm not terribly surprised by. We were more of a team effort than like one or two guys super standing out. You know, Andres Gimenez had a nice 5-win campaign, but then a bunch of like 3s and 2s. And then on the pitching side, we had Raylo with his 5.2 R-WAR. And then Joey Cantillo at about 4, and then a handful of 2s. So yeah, that's not super conducive to a bunch of award wins, and that's okay. Now, thinking about what we have to do for the off season, the Naylor thing is a big deal. Like, that's going to really kind of drive a lot of what's going on. But beyond that, you know, Renfroe's not going to be on this team, so kind of ignore him there. I don't know that we have a ton of moves. So I kind of think that we can do an impact move. I wonder if that's the best use here, because, I mean, we are at 17 players here. Call it 16, because, again, Renfroe's not going to be back. So at 16 players here, this whole group can't even make the ball club. And yet, who amongst this group really deserves to be in the minors? Maybe DeLauder? Right now, at least. Hey, you still got to earn it. You're 24. I think that's fair. I think I'm going to send him down there right now just to kind of get a look at where the team's at and everything. Put DeLuca in those spots. Actually, DeLuca can be the backup center fielder too at that point. Doesn't Watson have good outfield? Okay, not as good as I thought. He's still better on the infield. But, you know, with Rocchio, he missed half the season, so that opened up an avenue for Watson. But now, like, do I have room for both? Jimenez and Ramirez lock up the left side of the infield. If we bring Josh Naylor back, he's got first on lock. Do we maybe trade Rocchio or Watson? And you know it's not going to be Rocchio. You know that. I'm not trading Roque. How did we get Watson? Oh, they got Watson. Yeah, he's already here. He got traded in real life to this organization. That's right. So, I don't know. I mean, and I guess Watson's 22 and had a 46 WRC plus. So, you know what? No. Backtrack that. He doesn't need to be traded. There's no need to get rid of every ounce of depth that you have. You know, that's how you get yourself skunked when you get some injuries. Okay, so now you take Renfroe off, and we're at 14. And now it really makes sense here as a roster. Arias backs up there. Actually, maybe Freeman gets second base, and Arias gets third and short. And then I think Freeman can play some outfield, can he? Not that well. Is Arias a better outfielder? Arias is just better at everything. We'll put him in the backup right field spot there. So that's okay. That's starting to look like an offense. Now, that includes Naylor, who is not currently under contract. So let's pop him out there. I think I'm going to... I don't know if I'm going to cave to him. Actually, I know I'm not going to cave, meaning I'm not going to give him like a 6-7 year deal. But I might make a really competitive offer on the 4-year type deal to really, really, really try to entice him here and say, hey, I'm not going to go the distance, but I'm going to give you the bucks, and kind of see what he says to that. You can always enhance pitching. I mean, we have 15 right now. We need to shave this down to 12, but we can do mixes and matches, you know, do some 2-for-1s. Eflin won't be here either, so call it 14 right now. So 2 more guys need to be off of this roster as is. And we've got some maneuvers, like Jaime Arias does not need to stay up. He had a great run and a great season overall. He was awesome in AAA, so we gave him the look in the majors, and he did not disappoint. But I don't really believe in this profile, right? Like, let's just be honest. So let's pop him back down right now. And then, who did I say was going to be off it? Oh, Eflin. So then that's 13. Okay. So yeah. So like we've got a bundle of money, which is cool. We don't have a lot to spend it on. In a way, that's also cool though, because then we can go maybe a luxury item instead of trying to spread it out. I don't know. I'm curious y'all's thoughts though. We got an off season ahead that is going to have some intrigue to it, but I don't think we're going to really remake the team. We do need to strengthen the team though. Baltimore whooped us. That was the classic gentleman's sweep where we got that one game, but it was never really close. We could never really delude ourselves into thinking that we were in that sucker. Did we win the second game? No, we won the first one. Okay, I was going to say that. So we won the first game, and I still was like, yeah, well, we'll see. And we immediately lose 12-4. And then 3 close games, though. So I don't want to give the team, I don't want to shortchange them. We did our best. We fought. We hung in there. But push come to shove, that team just too damn good. So, all right. We will get into the offseason, much deeper next episode. Get to the Rule 5. Free agency will be going. Get your thoughts in about Naylor ASAP. If you watch this shortly after it comes out, there's a chance you catch me before I do anything. I'm going to try to get him on the team. Here's the real question that I have. And again, just for the thought exercise, even if it's already long done, I'm curious your thoughts here. Do I let the QO situation go? Hope that he takes that. If he doesn't, we revisit him in free agency proper with maybe a better attitude as well. Like he's maybe in a better mood after a couple weeks of breathing. I think that's how I'm going to play it. So we'll see how that goes. Thank y'all so much for watching. I will talk to you next episode. Peace.